How's it going, everybody? I'm back in Fallout 4, again at Abernathy Farm. This time I'm going to be building a small barn type of building for the Abernathy family. It's actually going to be where they keep, I think Clarabell is what the Brahmin is called, or Annabelle or something like that. Uh, it's dead in my game, so I'm definitely just going to replace it with some random Brahmin. Uh, but Yeah, so I'm going to be making a barn type of building for that. If you guys have ever seen like cattle farms or anything like that's kind of where this came from. Just a little section for the cattle, and then it's pretty much just going to be that, like a small section for cattle, and then a bigger section for uh, storage and stuff, I guess. But this was the side that I wanted to be the storage um, over here, and I just decided to use the warehouse tab. I've been planning on doing this build for a little while, and I knew I wanted to do like a barn, like warehouse type of thing. Someone mentioned in the comments recently that I use a lot of the same textures, and that I needed to mix it up a little bit. They mentioned that I do well like mixing or making it look scrappy with the like wooden stuff, but I don't really use a whole lot of the metal tabs, and so uh, I had intended on building this anyway, but I just thought I'd mention that like this is like a mixture of everything. I knew that I wanted to have like a barn type of building. Just the warehouse tab and the barns, those are, I mean, a little bit bigger of walls and stuff, so it's kind of hard to build with. Uh, but I do try to mix up the textures. I try not to repeat things a whole lot. Uh, but I think a lot of the builds in this settlement aren't necessarily based on lore, because whenever I think of the Abernathys, I don't think that they because someone mentioned that I should do something big for them because they probably are wealthier than everybody else. And I don't, in my mind, when I think lore wise, I don't really think of the Abernathys as like a wealthy family or anything like that. I think of them really as like a poor family in the Commonwealth, but they've just been here long enough to set up as big as they have. They don't really necessarily have as much land as they do because they're wealthy. Uh, but I do kind of make them like a centerpiece because I mean they have their house. I built on top of their house as a house for myself, and then I also, you'll notice in the tour that their farm is a little bit upgraded. I added a lot of stuff, but right here I wanted to add like a path type of thing through the barn, just right down the middle where the barn door was. Uh, so I decided to just do a little scrappy little plywood and pallets, a little walkway right down the middle on the side of the concrete pad that's a little bit lifted off the ground. And I just sunk it into the ground a little bit. I think that that looks nice. And then I think that this little walkway looks pretty scrappy. Also, it's kind of on like a hill because this whole settlement is a freaking hill, which is pretty annoying. Also, it wouldn't let me pick up the entire thing at the same time, so I just decided that I would place each of the pieces individually because it kind of breaks up into three. So I just lined that up with that staircase and then placed it down, and then grabbed the next piece, lined it up, placed it down, and then grabbed the next piece and placed it on the end, lined up with the stairs again, and then with the plywood just showing barely. And I wanted to use the warehouse roofs on one of the sides at least, so I went ahead and I just used those roofs on this side. This is the side that I intend on having the Brahmin, whatever Brahmin you have in this settlement. I think it's Clarabell, like I said, but I'm not 100%. I don't really care that much either. Otherwise, I probably would have protected it a little bit better. But it died. I don't even know if it's possible to save it because I just came here and it was dead. It didn't even say that they were attacked or anything like that. And then to kind of make the build a little bit bigger and have a little bit of different texture, I decided to use the metal like wall cutouts, and I just put them on the end. So I just put 3 together and then pillar glitch those into my left right here currently, and it ended up being like a really good angle, and I think it looks like really good supports too. Uh, I think it fits really well with the whole build, and yeah, I really liked how that turned out. But this is really fidgety. You'll notice that there's tons of jump cuts in this video. It's because things took forever to do. And then I just placed a wooden like shack wall and roof in to get it to snap the end pieces, like the wall end cap pieces or the half walls or whatever, to get those to snap in. But on that left side, it actually wouldn't snap in it at all. So I tried to pillar glitch this piece in, and these pieces don't work the way that I want them to. So I actually went ahead and just used a regular half shack wall, and I decided that I would leave a small little gap. That's not a big deal, especially with it being as scrappy as it is. And I figured that I would plug it up, but I actually didn't. I just left it open. I think it looks fine. But you'll notice whenever I do the full build, the full tour, that there's a lot of decoration inside, and I really like the way that the decoration turned out. Using CVA, they have a lot of like different things in CVA that actually go really well, that work really well in builds. So like you can affect lighting. They have different lighting effects in just the regular, out of USO. You go into the lighting tab. They should have a light that you can activate to get all the different lighting options, and they're just invisible lights. So like if you really wanted to just light up a room, you can have an Omni light that's regular, and so it works like a light bulb, but it's just invisible. And I didn't want it to just be like no light bulb or anything like that, or no light in the room. So I did a lot of just no electricity in this build, actually. I'll be honest, I really like the way that fire looks when I build. So I really don't like to use light bulbs all that much. And if I do, I'll only use like one. And the biggest problem I have with that is if I have to place a windmill down, like whenever I did Sunshine Tidings, I placed a windmill down on each house pretty much because I needed a generator, but I didn't really want to put down a generator because they're super loud. And then people complained about me using too many windmills. So then I started using candles, just different types of lighting, and then people complained that I didn't use enough like electricity. And so really, I think I'm just gonna build how I want to build. I'll take suggestions and stuff from you guys. You guys have ideas and stuff? I mean, I'd love to hear it. But I really think that I'm just gonna build settlements how I'd like to build settlements, because like this Abernathy farm, I like being able to build a house for each of the followers and stuff like that. But overall, as a settlement, that's not how I would build a settlement. I build things to go together when you look at it as a full settlement, where it all blends. But then, like with settlements like this, each build is its own individual build. And I don't know. I really like roleplay builds and stuff. I don't mind. And like I said, I don't mind taking suggestions from you guys, but it really limits me. Doing this like settlement this way, it was really hard for me to come up with ideas half the time because I didn't know how to build like a house for that follower or whatever. And I don't know. I just really like building things how I want to build them. And like I said, I'm not opposed to getting suggestions or ideas from you guys, but I really think that I'm just going to build settlements how I want to build them. And I mean, please, give me suggestions if you guys have ideas. But, I mean, don't just expect me to build whatever you guys are suggesting. I mean, if I don't build it, I'm sorry. If I do, I mean, I liked your idea. And I mean, I've had ideas from people before, and I've shouted them out for giving me those ideas. And like I said, I'm not opposed to them, but you just can't expect me to please everybody. So, as you can see, on the roof, I actually ended up just using regular, roofs from the wood tab. I thought that it was a good way to, blend up, or mix up the textures on the roof. And then I just decided to kind of add some detail to this wall by adding some just railings in the wall to make it look a little bit more built up, connected to that warehouse wall above the wooden wall. And then I had also put the half walls above in that small gap. And then now all I'm doing is placing some reverse junk walls, the taller ones, on this front left side. And you'll notice that in the full build, I actually do it on a couple more walls too, but I just did that to kind of break up the textures on the outside instead of having, especially on this right side right now, I kind of just was trying to break up the textures a little bit and avoid having the concrete foundation showing so much. And like I said, I just reversed these on both sides to kind of break up the texture. And then on the inside, I actually decided that I was going to put in a gate and a fence. Like I had said, it was for Clarabell. I'm really trying to remember its name. I think that's what it was. But all I was going to do was pillar glitch this. This was super fidgety, so you'll notice a lot of jump cuts here. Actually, no, I cut it out completely. As soon as I get it in, it's like almost exactly where I ended up leaving it. So you'll notice that it doesn't actually show me actually place it, but about where I had it is where I placed it. And then I decided that I needed some pillars in the build just to hold up that side, and I put it in a different spot, and then I sat there and messed with it for like 5 minutes. And so I cut that all out, and then I left all of this me fidgeting with it just to give you an idea of what I was doing and moving it over and moving it back. And then eventually I got it to clip through the fence a little bit, and then just messing with it ever so slightly, I eventually thought it was that fence that was causing the problem. And then I keep moving it, and it snaps in. You'll see that it touches the wood. And I try to do the same thing down here, and it just takes a couple seconds, and I get it right in. And the full tour will be right here in a minute. So here it is, the full build. A little bit of lighting. I realized that the first half of the video is in the dark. That's why there's a jump cut, and then all of a sudden it's day. It's because I was like, oh crap, I've just been building in black of the night the whole time. But I really tried to get it as scrappy as possible and mix up textures and stuff. You can see on this front part alone, there's wood, warehouse, barn, junk walls, metal, all sorts of stuff, and even with the roof. And again, like I told you earlier, I really upgraded their farm. I added a lot more, and then her melon farm's over here because I didn't delete it. I just moved it. And then tons of potatoes, tons of carrots, corn, nut fruit. I even added silt beans and also gourds as well. Because with I think it's USL, adds a bunch of junk. Also, you could see right there a minute ago, it's still open on that left side, and I thought it looks good. I thought it looked fine. And then, like I said, on this side, you'll see that I put a couple junk fences to break up the texture because it just looked like warehouse, and I just kind of wanted to break up the texture. Also, you'll notice inside, I used Aslam's workshop decoration pack and some of his shelves on that left side. I really think that they look good. It kind of made it a lot easier for me, and I just put a bunch of junk everywhere. Put radstag heads, because right down on the edge of the settlement there's always radstags. Some beer crates, and then also some food down there. And then down in the middle, you'll have noticed that I already walked past it, but I had a armor workbench, and then a lantern, and then another Brahmin inside the fenced-in area with a trough. But that lantern I actually put an Omni light in, and it worked well. But if you guys like this build, make sure you guys let me know. Check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.